Have you ever wondered why you can know the truth, but still struggle to believe it? Why you can love God, pray, read scripture, desire healing, and yet there's still places inside of you that feel stuck. Maybe you've wondered, why do I react this way? Why does my body feel unsafe when I know I'm safe? Why do certain situations bring up emotions that feel much bigger than the moment? Why do I still struggle with things that happened so long ago? If you've ever felt frustrated with yourself because you can't simply move on from something that hurt you, I want you to know there's a reason for it. And more importantly, there's also hope. I know because I've lived that. For years, I didn't understand why I could love God, believe in God, and desire healing, but still feel stuck in certain patterns. I thought healing meant trying harder, thinking differently, getting over the things that hurt me, having more faith. But what I discovered was that healing is so much deeper than simply changing our thoughts. Because trauma isn't just about what happened to us, it's about the meaning that we attach to what happened. Those painful experiences can shape the way that we see ourselves, the way that we see other people, the way that we understand safety, love, and even God. Over time, those meanings can become deeply rooted in beliefs that influence the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we respond to the world around us. That's why understanding soul trauma is so important. Soul trauma is the impact that trauma had on your soul. And your soul is made up of your mind, your will, and your emotions. Your soul is the essence of who you are. It's the place where your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, your desires, and your personality come together. Your soul is a deeply meaningful part of who God created you to be because it was designed to reflect Him. When painful experiences overwhelm us, our soul tries to make sense of what happened. Sometimes the conclusions that we come to aren't based on truth. They're based on survival. This is where core wounds can develop. Those are the deep beliefs that form beneath the surface in your subconscious mind. Beliefs like, I'm not safe, I'm not loved, I'm alone, I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, I have to protect myself, I can't trust anyone. These beliefs often began as a way of surviving painful experiences, but when they remain unprocessed and unhealed, they can begin influencing our thoughts, our emotions, our reactions, our relationships, and even the way we see God. One of the most important things to understand about trauma is that it impacts the whole person. God created us as three-part being, body, soul, and spirit, not separate pieces, but as interconnected parts. Your body, your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, your relationships, your spiritual life, they're all connected. And because God created every part of you, He cares about every part of you. Your body connects to your soul through your five senses: what you see, what you hear, what you feel, what you experience. These become gateways between the world around you and your internal world. And when those experiences are overwhelming, they don't simply become memories. They can become messages. Messages that your brain and your heart, your soul, use to help you make sense of the world. This is why trauma can continue affecting you long after the painful event is over. Because trauma isn't just stored as a memory, it can become a pattern, a reaction, a belief. a way of seeing yourself and the world. Your brain is constantly working to protect you. It's one of the incredible ways that God designed us. Your brain is always scanning your environment for safety and for danger, always trying to help you survive. But when trauma remains unresolved or unprocessed, your brain can create protective patterns based on those experiences. Not because something is wrong with you, but because your brain was doing exactly what God designed it to do, protect you. But here's the beautiful truth. Your brain isn't permanently stuck. God designed your brain with the ability to change. This is called neuroplasticity. Your brain has the ability to create new neural pathways, new patterns, new ways of responding, new ways of thinking, new ways of experiencing safety and truth. Think about a trail through the woods. The more often you walk the same path, the more clear and the easier that path becomes. Trauma creates deep paths of fear, shame, and protection in your brain. But healing is the process of creating new paths, paths built on truth, paths built on safety, paths built on the identity that God has given you. Your nervous system always plays a major role in this process. The emotional part of your brain, often called the limbic system, is designed to protect you. And when it senses danger, it prepares your body to respond. This is the fight, flight, freeze, or other protective responses. These responses aren't signs that something is wrong with you. They're signs that your body learned how to survive. The problem is that after trauma, your nervous system can continue responding as if the danger is still present. That's why something small today can create a reaction that feels much bigger than the moment. Your body isn't trying to hurt you. Your body is trying to protect you based on what it learned in the past. And this is where the heart connection becomes so fascinating. Science has discovered that the heart and the brain are deeply connected. The soul, the mind, and the emotions. Your emotional experiences affect your body, and your body's signals influence your emotional experience. You are an integrated person, not just a soul, which again is your mind, your will, your emotions, not just your body, not just a spirit. This beautifully reflects what Scripture has told us all along. God cares about your heart. He cares about your mind. He cares about the whole person. He doesn't ask you to ignore your wounds. He invites you to bring them into His presence. So how do you begin healing soul trauma? The first step is always awareness. Begin noticing the moments where you feel triggered or overwhelmed. Instead of immediately judging yourself, pause and get curious. Ask, what am I feeling right now? What belief is being activated? What story did this experience teach me? The second step is identifying the lie, which is often directly tied to the core belief. This is the false conclusion that trauma creates based on the painful experience. Maybe the lie is, I'm all alone, or I'm unlovable, or I am unsafe, or I will always be this way. Finally, begin replacing that lie with God's truth. This is where renewing your mind becomes so powerful, not through pretending that everything is okay, but through intentionally bringing your thoughts into agreement with what God says is true. One way to practice this is through scripture declarations. Find a scripture that directly negates that lie. If the lie is, I am alone, the truth is, I am not alone, because God says he will never leave me or forsake me. If the lie is, I am not worthy, the truth is, I am worthy, because God calls me chosen, beloved, and he created me in his image. You can also practice faith-based visualizations to show your brain the truth using its own language of pictures. Imagine bringing that wounded place before Jesus. Imagine his presence meeting you there. Imagine him speaking truth, compassion, and love into that broken place. Not because the visualization itself has power, but because you're intentionally meditating on God's truth and inviting him into the places that need healing. Healing isn't about pretending that the past didn't happen. It's about allowing God to restore the places where trauma left its mark. It's about letting his truth reach the places where fear, shame, and survival once had the loudest voice. Because trauma taught you many things, but not everything trauma taught you is true. Your story isn't over. What happened to you doesn't define you. The wounds you carry don't have to have the final word. Jesus does. The places where trauma once created fear can become places where God creates freedom. The places where shame once lived can become places where his love is experienced. The places where you felt broken can become places where his restoration is revealed. This is the heart behind Dark Sky Flutterby. It's the belief that healing happens when you bring trauma out of secrecy and into the safety of God's presence. When you care for the whole person, body, soul, and spirit. When you allow God's truth, neuroscience, and practical healing rhythms to work together. I hope you leave this video understanding that your struggle isn't evidence that you're failing. It's an invitation to bring the places that still hurt into the healing presence of God. If this message is resonating with you and you're realizing there may be deeper layers to your healing journey, I want to invite you to explore Victorious. It's my 3-phased, faith-based, holistic healing journey designed to help women heal body, soul, and spirit. Together, we explore nervous system regulation, renewing the mind, releasing trauma patterns, and building a deeper faith and relationship with Jesus as you walk toward healing, wholeness, freedom, and victory. And if you'd like to learn more about a faith-based approach to healing from trauma, I hope you'll join me in my next video where we'll talk about practical strategies for settling your suffering. You don't have to stay stuck where you are. Victory is already yours through Jesus. A faith-based approach to healing is simply learning how to come into agreement with that truth. So until next time, keep moving forward toward healing, wholeness, and freedom.